You're watching The Mic Check, on every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Mic Check. It is going to be a great night. Tonight we're doing something kind of animation, anime related, so there's going to be a dramatic style read, as only anime can be done. This is just going to stretch everybody's character acting, because that is the big thing about this piece of copy, and we all pretty much are familiar with, if not, we will be familiar with anime and how it works. And most of the time you're following lip flaps. On this, we're not, because, well, we're not set up for that in here. But get ready, because it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So, is everybody ready to go? Awesome.
What, no lip flaps? What's the point?
So our first volunteer to go is going to be Golda.
Unless you want the puppet moving his mouth.
That's his first read, I think.
Which, by the way, that is a really good way to practice lip syncing, is to have a puppet on hand.
No.
That, or just use your fingers.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideki and fall. Andrew.
All right. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. And I'll send it to Frank.
Nice read, by the way.
Thank you.
Nice read. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one that you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideki and fall. I want to hear Joe.
Alrighty then.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
Leonard?
Okay. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. John.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. How about Tim?
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet, in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we'll offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. Domingo.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will serve no more, but you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. My friend Richard, please.
I unmuted, yay me. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. Sesames, Michael.
We have been watching you, Rinjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renji, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives can be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we offer you a safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. Dan.
I have to bend over to unmute my mic. Sorry.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one that you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. Stacy, we got a new face over here. I had to call on it.
That's me, if I can get everything together here. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more, but you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. Gosh, Michael.
Okay. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more, but you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
All right, I've got Anthony, Nathan, Donna, and Takia left.
Then let's go with Donna.
If I missed anybody, let me know now.
We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more, but you, Renjiro, could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Anthony,
Sorry,
Nathan, or
Dan.
Takia?
Dan, could you give me the name? Thank you.
Anthony, Nathan, or Takia?
Anthony, could you go next, please?
I can. Okay. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be spared, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. Oh, I gotta pick. Let's see, who's going, who's hasn't went?
Nathan, Takia.
Nathan.
We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall. That leaves Takia. Takia.
You're muted.
What?
She may not be there.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
she may just be listening in. All right. So that, I believe, concludes the reads for now, unless Takia pops in and wants to read. Okay. So let's go ahead and discuss the script a little bit. One of the difficulties that I'm seeing in here right now is that we are kind of hampered on the information that we have about what's going on. We don't know specifically who the character is, what their motivation is, and things like that. And oftentimes in any kind of an animation audition situation, you'd be given that. Sometimes you'd even be given a sketch of the character, their bio or background, something about them, a little bit about what's going on in the world or the situation specifically in where you are auditioning when it comes to, the lines that you're given. So we're a little bit hampered on the amount of information that we have here. But I think we can make this work for us a little bit. Thankfully, we're not going to have to talk about like any particular specific kinds of points of, performance because, well, now this is sort of a blank canvas.
Yes.
We can make it however we want. But sorry, what was that?
It's a character.
Yes. But there are some specific things that I did want to bring up. For instance, some of the pronunciation issues and some of the words that were skipped over or not quite pronounced correctly. So let's see. It's the third sentence in: to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. So that's one to be careful of. Usurpers.
You say usurpers or usurpers? Because
usurpers.
I've heard it both ways. So,
well, usurpers is incorrect.
Yes. So you heard it wrong. So there.
It's usurpers.
Do not usurp me.
Not my usurpers, but usurpers.
When it comes to Japanese pronunciation as well, much like what Joe said at the very beginning, a lot of the pronunciation is very even. There's not quite so much of because in English, words that are broken up in their syllables oftentimes have stresses in different places. Like emphasis is correct with the emphasis on M, but emphasis is incorrect. So when it comes to these Japanese words, Yakuza, Renjiro, and Hideaki, it's all really even. There's no major like emphasis on anything as far as I understand. I could be completely incorrect, and you will be corrected. You know, that would be a question to ask whoever you're auditioning with, or who's directing.
Or Joe. Joe has
Joe. We could just default to Joe for now for that.
Joe's got a point.
There's one. Yeah, there's one exception that comes in. For example, if you say "Arigato gozaimasu," gozaimasu actually ends with a U, and it's kind of swallowed, and it's similar in Yakuza.
Yakuza,
not Yakuza.
Yeah, the U is just about silent.
Yakuza.
Yeah.
Almost silent. It's just kind of skipped over. And the rest we had the pronunciations on.
Yeah. So it's Yakuza, Renjiro, and Hideaki. Remember, every vowel, because in English vowels will often blend in together. Take the word "see" for example. SEA, see.
Yes.
SEE. You know, so like I can understand why it would be tempting to say like Hideaki or Hideki, but it's Hideaki.
Yeah, that was me missing the letters. I was like, I don't know how to pronounce this.
Yeah, Hideaki.
Make it.
Now, some general things to note about the script. Well, really quick, what were some things that you may have noticed about the performances? What were some things that stuck out as good and not so good?
I actually like the varied performance because it's basically like a audition. You know, everybody's going to have their own take on the script.
I think one thing I noticed that at least for anime or even some game copy where it's a cutscene, they're not so concerned about time. So
they're never concerned about time with that.
Seemed a bit rushed, as if this was like a commercial read, you'd want to get through this in 30 seconds.
A minute.
Yeah. Now, if you're following lip flaps, then time is important.
Then it matters.
Extremely, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't really have the technology right now to practice that in a setting like this.
No, we don't. And I took that and it was like, oh man, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, getting ADR stuff is a little bit difficult.
Actually,
but
over the internet, the syncing would be really hard, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would be next to impossible.
But especially in a scene like this, they tend to want to do a lot of savoring because. I mean, the picture I had is one guy has the other one trapped in some way. Maybe he's tied up. And and from the scene, you can't tell if one's a good guy, one's a bad guy. Maybe they're both bad guys. There's no way to tell. That's a personal choice.
We know that Renjiro's Yakuza. That's all we know from this entire thing. And the person talking is not. That's all.
Yeah, he could be a plan or
Yeah, you can kind of tell he's convinced that he's right about something because of the way he's being spoken to. About, he thinks he's doing the right thing for his nation, and yet he's serving some kind of a dictator type.
Right, but one thing that I noticed that didn't come through quite as clearly is that there is a legitimately concerted effort on the part of whoever's speaking to convince somebody of something.
Yeah.
And I think that particular point right there, the attempting to convince somebody of something was lost on some of the performances. It didn't really come through. There wasn't a whole lot of trying to convince this person that, hey, joining our side may actually be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I always
Can I throw in a few things here real quick?
Yeah, please.
I have a bunch of things. So I think the critical thing to start with is decide who you are. Like my first read, I was the leader of the Silent Dragon group, for lack of a better term, and I'm recruiting Renjiro. Or I could have been an underling who was just told, you need to recruit Renjiro, and if you fail, you're out. And whatever that means to them. So finding out who you are, where you are, is it a barren room? Is it underground? Is it an amazing room like a throne room? What is it? Where are you?
Is it a courtroom?
Is it a courtroom? Yes.
This could be done.
Then finding the points of transition in the story. So my notes, just how I read it, the first part, what's my motivation? What am I trying to do? I want to put a seed of doubt in his mind, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
No, you serve a monster you created. Then the next one, that time is now ending, is obviously a turning point. I feel like that's sort of I'm informed and making a clear statement that the time is now ending. And then I'm clearly recruiting him. You could be invaluable to us. And then the last bit is the offer. And if you don't,
the threat.
The threat, exactly. And by recognizing that they're different motivations, if you know who you are, what your relationship is to this person, where you are, because that influences, like, is he over there and you're talking to him at a distance, or are you up in his face?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you know who you are and what your motivations are, that will influence, and it could be completely different for other people. That's just like what I scribbled on here. Then when you're set for the speech and the transitions, it will sort of flow. You'll get I'm trying to plant a seed of doubt here, or I'm trying to do something to Renjiro here. You'll have the different beats, because some of them were sort of the same thing all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm threatening you and you're gonna do it or else.
You actually, Golda, your notes highlighted what I was trying to get into here, is that who you are and your setting. So your character and setting are roughly open. You can do whatever you like to there. There are a few notes, a few things that I see actually from this script where we can get some information about this character, but not a whole lot. For the most part, it is up to you. But just as you mentioned, I think the most important thing that we need to focus on in this script is what's going on in the story and how do we communicate the story. Because in any kind of animated script, whether that be video games, whether that be anime, whether that be, even Pixar animation, the story is king. That is the goal. That is the point. So what are we going for? We're going for what is happening in the story. How should your character's mood shift? What are you trying to do? Now, yes, that can be colored by who you've decided to be. Maybe you've decided to play the villain. And if you are playing the villain, maybe this whole thing actually has an air of being pedantic towards this hero, Renjiro. Oh, man. Like you could just be condescending about the whole thing, because this sounds like an anime. And if that's the case, most of the time, they're cool with people being really sappy. Like it's being played up a little bit more. That's almost the culture in English dubbed anime. That at least in English dubbed anime.
Anime is
dubbed anime.
It's melodrama at its best. It really
absolutely. So you can be a little bit dramatic with this. You can be a little bit over the top with this, but we need to be able to communicate the story regardless of who you're playing. So if you're trying to be somebody who's concerted, I'm going to take this from a point of somebody who's actually concerted, making a concerted effort to stop this war and recruit this person. So in my mind, what I'm seeing here is at the very beginning, from we have to one you helped create, that is trying to, highlight to Renjiro the issues that they have taken, part in, trying to appeal to their humanity. This is trying to open their eyes to the fact that,
I've got something to point out in just that first paragraph. We have been watching you, which means they have eyes on him at almost all times.
And you're an organization.
It's not a individual that's trying to recruit him. It's a whole group.
Right, but you are the voice of that group. So you have to be the personality of that group, for lack of a better way to put it. And in doing so, this is one of those hard things that I think we can definitively say about this character, is that they need to have an air of confidence. Like, does anybody disagree with that? I'm pretty sure that the speaker needs to have an air of confidence, regardless of who you decide to be, good or bad.
I don't think he needs to shout about "I'm in charge" he has that underlying air of, he's in charge by the way he speaks.
Yeah, he or she.
Well,
Thankfully, an open script.
It could be a shouting thing. What if you're
It
an
could be.
underling and you have to convince, you've got somebody over you just sent you in and said, you need to convince them. So you might be like, I'm in charge, and like really trying to show that you're in charge. But you're like doubting that you're really in charge. Because
I don't see that in this. I don't see this as an underling.
I don't
at all.
see that as it, but it could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If that is the case, it would have been written differently. This is definitely somebody in a position of power offering, a way out.
Yeah.
Like this, I
He
don't necessarily
has the power to make the offer, but he may not be in power in the organization.
There's the thing though. There's the thing though.
Power may be different.
Yeah, the thing is though, when it comes to this character's interaction with the individual Renjiro, that dynamic doesn't necessarily matter. This person is trying to come off as confident and in control.
For sure. I don't have a question if he's going to try and come off as confident.
He's not going to be begging.
How that's going to manifest maybe slightly different.
Yeah.
Between how much in power they actually are outside of the room.
There was someone's read, I think it was Nathan, but there was someone's read that made me, and someone said this before, where it's like, this person might have Renjiro trapped, but the other way around is like if Renjiro just won a battle against this person, and it's kind of like, we are numerous, you should come over to our side. And I kind of got that from that read. It was like just an interesting dimension that and still, there's the confidence that like, even though I may be defeated or you've won the battle, you may not win the war. And it was just something cool that I noticed, but there is still that confidence.
Yeah. Oh, but no question on the power.
Pulling from my anime influence, yes, you're right, Andrew.
So yeah, I guess what we can pin this down as is, regardless of who you decide you are, you need to approach this with confidence. You are in control of the situation, regardless of, even if you've been beaten down in a battle and you're like bleeding to death on the floor, you're still in control because you have the offer to make. And this is the person you were trying to talk to.
Most normally, and a lot of those head-to-heads in anime, you'll see that guy. I mean, he's about to be split in half, with that long pause scene where he's like, even still, even though he knows he's right on the verge of his own defeat, he will have that deep confidence like he's going to win anyway.
Something that sort of stuck out to me, though, is, the personal note at the end of the first paragraph, one you helped to create. If this organization does have eyes on this person, then they must, that sort of indicates to me, again, you can disagree with this if you want to, that's all right. This is just my personal interpretation. That indicates to me that there is a shred of doubt in this character. That Renjiro is really legitimately questioning themselves, at least to some degree. And that's something that this organization, this person noticed, which is another sort of point, to me at least, another sort of indication that whoever we're acting as right now, not only knows this person obviously, but is in some kind of control. They have that information, and information is control. So anyway, we're getting really granular in trying to say, all right, we need to be confident. And we need to pay attention to the story. So at the beginning, you're sowing doubt. In the middle, that time is now ending to the knowledge you wield. That is definitely appealing to the listener's humanity. And at the end, join us and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki in fall is obviously the ultimatum. Sorry, John, what were you going to say?
I have a different take on it. The whole join us and we will offer you safe haven, to me, doesn't mean they're necessarily in the same room. They could be communicating over phone, radio.
Yeah, this could
Star
be
Trek communicator.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, you could set it up that way.
Telepathically. It's anime after all. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Going on. But I think
It just makes more sense to me if I see it as them not being in the same room and I'm communicating to him to try to get him to come to them.
Yeah,
just my.
I mean, you think of
that actually makes a lot of sense.
Like the scene with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader in Empire. He's right there. Join me. I mean,
Give in
Well,
to
that's
your
true
hate.
too. But it was join me or I'm going to cut you in half with this lightsaber and you're going to die right now.
Yeah. Hey kid, your hand's coming off, okay?
But but serve Hideki and fall means he has that opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, if he has it right in the palm of his hand,
Yeah.
then he basically is his prisoner. Then he wouldn't have the opportunity to serve Hideki anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
it is
true.
too granular.
Yeah.
Just trying to decide on.
Actually, John,
the
you
worst
made
thing to
it actually made a lot of sense the way you put it.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of it that way. And
That's right. Yeah.
the way it's worded, it could be, a phone call.
Mhm.
Like the guy's in a hotel room and they know where he's at. That kind of thing.
So then this is mostly just going to be a character study. And this is mostly just going to be about communicating the points of the story, because we legitimately don't have enough information to come up with a solid, concrete, how are we going to do this? So I guess because we'll just dive back into the reads, because I don't think there's really anything more we can say about this script. When it comes to direction and feedback, let's focus it more on how well were the different points established and communicated. We'll allow everybody who approaches this to approach this the way they want to. I mean, again, we don't have any really definitive official word as to how to do this.
Other than confident.
Other than confidently and other than communicate the story. So let's go ahead and go back into the reads, and we will hopefully, be able to focus our input on, was the story communicated well, and was this approached confidently? So Golda, why don't you go ahead and take it away for us?
Okay. And I'm going to go with a different interpretation of.
Again, it's completely open. You can do it however you want to. We're just looking for those two things.
Okay. We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think of that performance?
Nice death scene.
I like the elder councilwoman kind of feel. That's what I got from that.
You gave up a little bit of your power though by making that choice. You didn't quite have much power over him.
Yeah,
because he's gonna die.
Yeah, it seemed like desperate pleading mostly.
Yeah.
Unless it was one of those moments, and this is how those scenes play out in anime. You have that quick right after Anne fall, and you hear, whoosh, and then they separated that out a little bit.
Or her soul jumps to another body right afterwards.
Let's
one, but
we'll save the speculation of what happens after for another time. For right now, let's see.
I got elder councilwoman pleading for his help is basically what I got from that performance.
Okay, so you mostly got
power out of it at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say back it down a little.
Okay.
And not so much. You need that silent, quiet power to it.
Okay.
And not the raving to it.
Okay.
I did get the persuasion in there in the middle. I felt that came across very well. But watch out for the Yakuza with no U in it.
Yeah, I threw the full U in again, didn't I? Again, with it, could it still be in that sort of death scene, just with more?
So if you're going to do the death scene, fill out your voice. Don't be so airy.
Okay.
Are you the one dying?
I'm the one dying.
Yeah, I think even though if you want to do it that way, even though if you're dying, you still have the upper hand. You still
Okay.
got like the
Yeah, okay.
kind of
So
holding some
more of
cards
the
on him.
because I know we're gonna win even if this assassination wasn't successful.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved. How much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
Okay.
Lot
What
more
do you think of that performance?
There was a lot more confidence in that one.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It wasn't. There was. I only got a hint of pleading, but it wasn't overpowering like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
When you got to the deep in your soul, that's where I felt the plead. It felt like you were pleading, that you were like hoping that this is what he actually thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Did anybody else get that?
Kind of. I don't. Go ahead, Richard.
It was hard. It's hard to be nitpicky. It really
The
is.
self-confidence that was when you started trying to do over rage, when it was kind of the turn to where, hey, I'm giving you an option. We're going to give you, you're getting into offering him safe haven, or you're going to be gone. It went into kind of pleading again. I don't know. You were doing really good, and then you switched back to what you had been, and I'm trying to remember where that spot was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of agree. The attitude was like a little different between the first and second paragraphs. I think the first one was like so strong, and there was like a little venom almost. And then the second one, you kind of started lost a little bit of that strength.
Okay. There you go. That's what. Yeah, it went back to what you did the first time. The first paragraph, I went, "Oh, she's got a great start," and then it's like,
too bad.
That's what it was. Okay, I was in the wrong spot.
What kind of character are you going for here? Like, who is this character?
I am. Yeah, like, does it make sense to be in the battle? To recruit at the end of the battle.
Well, the issue is that the thing that really stuck out to me is at the very, very end, you became this ominous sort of threatening figure. I don't know if that was what you were going for. But okay.
Yeah.
It was I don't know. It felt like a weird break in character because you didn't really hit that with the rest of it too much.
Okay. Yeah.
So whatever your character's motivation is, try to carry that all the way through from beginning to end.
Yeah, now I'm thinking, well, does it make sense to... There's all sorts of problems with it being in battle, because why am I recruiting him now? Why didn't I start before I...
This is anime. It can happen at any time. This can be during a battle.
Yes.
We don't have enough information on what's going on to really accurately get like a solid amount of direction for this. So we're just trying to wing it as much as we can now. But I guess it's...
I guess I was trying to capture him to bring him to do the
Okay, well, whatever it is, carry it from beginning to end. Let's see if we can get it. Go for it one more time.
Let's go for it. All right.
Remember, anime battles last half a season, so
yeah. All right. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, You know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Okay, what did everybody think of that one?
That was better. Character stayed more consistent throughout the read instead of it all of a sudden, where'd she go? We got somebody else in here? That was a lot better.
Yeah, it's a stronger choice overall.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one would make it in. You'd win the audition with it.
Good job, Goldie.
Maybe.
I need to learn how to say Yakuza. Yakuza? How do you say it?
Yakuza.
Yakuza, okay.
Yakuza.
Oh, I butchered it again. But tried not to let that go. Editor.
It's that language thing. It's, you know.
Yeah. I think that's why I shifted, because I noticed that I mispronounced it and then went into self-critic mode, and so
Yeah.
successfully fixed that up.
One little key to when you make a mistake,
Mhm.
just pick it up and keep running. You know. Yeah.
So I looked up the script. It is an original script through Edge Studio, so I couldn't find the video. I was looking to see if I could get any more information on it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not. This is not original from Edge.
Really?
No,
Where'd
it's
it come
not.
from?
This is a DC comic.
Oh.
I just posted it in there. Yeah, it's a comic that takes place. It looks like it takes place like 2063 is what it says.
Yeah.
I just posted a link to the whole thing in the chat. But let's go ahead and move on, shall we? Andrew, go for it.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
All right. What did everybody think of that?
Andrew, I just love the way you fucking read that.
Yeah, Andrew, have you voiced anime before? I swear
I have
I've
the
heard
perfect voice for
English
this.
dubs.
Totally.
I've done like fan dubs of stuff, but never English dubs or like legit English dubs translations.
I think the one thing I'd want more of is levels.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
always kind of my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I had
Yeah.
too. I'm right there
Yeah.
with you, Joe.
It reminded me of one of those guys I've heard on One Piece.
Wait.
Yeah.
You know what I think happened with that read?
Tell me.
Andrew, I think you were too focused on the way your voice sounded.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were just listening to yourself too much. You can perform that way again. Just take the headphones off and try to focus on communicating the story this time.
Okay.
And I think if you take your time with it a little bit too, your voice is so powerful that if you take a moment with each thing that you're saying, each sentence, just take a moment and think about each sentence that you're saying. I think your levels will vary at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One critique that I'd have there is I didn't quite buy that your character believed that it was important to spare this bloodshed. You were just kind of voicing
He's the
the
bad
words
guy.
and hoping it would convince the guy.
He's the bad guy. He's the bad guy.
Again, I think the focus was, I think you're right. And I think it was because the focus was on the voice sound because it's not quite his natural sound. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So you can do that, Andrew. That's totally okay. My biggest suggestion for that, though, would be take off the headphones, because you're hearing yourself too much. You're going to be paying attention to that sound rather than to what the story is saying. So if you want to go ahead and dive right back into it, just take off the headphones and go for it again.
Cool. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared, by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
What did you guys think of that one?
Much better.
Much better.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
The only thing, and it's a nitpicky, is when Mark was with us, I think, in my personal opinion, the comma after bloodshed spared, after bloodshed spared, I think you just need to how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge. I think that comma needs to go bye-bye. That's my
It's an entirely optional one in my mind.
Especially for the way you were reading it, for the character you were using.
Yeah.
That comma needs to go away.
Man, that's the only glitch I heard. I mean, I thought it was so much better, Andrew. You had a little more inflection, and the character had some feeling with the words. It was way improved.
I was
Sorry.
picturing the big dude with a monstrously huge sword, that's slightly bigger than he is.
Slightly.
I was
what are you talking about?
the opposite.
Well, oh wait, it's anime. It's got to be much bigger than he is.
Sorry, Dan, go for it.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I was actually trying to quiet everybody down so we could hear you. Go for it, Dan.
I was actually picturing the opposite. I was picturing that 4'3" skinny guy that's holding like a little stick and talking to them, and just the power, the strength, the confidence that he had. Like I've pictured Andrew's voice as the villain. I'm sorry. I really
No. I like that.
Hey.
Well, really quick, Andrew. When it comes to performing with the headphones off like that, how did that feel? Was that different for you than the other one?
Yeah, I mean, you were spot on with that. I was listening to myself in the cans, and that when I took them off, I wasn't as focused. I still a little bit for my taste. I was kind of listening to myself, but having the headphones off helped.
Okay, good. Because it, like everybody's already said, that totally transformed your read.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Image of the scene of what was going on. Everybody had a picture in their mind, and you were telling us a story because you gave us a picture.
Yeah.
Evil Makarov.
And Dan had the really accurate anime description, because I've seen animes where giants, talking like this.
I was thinking of an evil Makarov.
Well, anyway, in the interest of time, let's go ahead and move on, shall we? I mean, I totally get that that nitpicky, removing that comma, but honestly, that take was really, really good.
Yes.
And I think it would, I don't think it would really change too much of your performance to do that. I think that was a really solid turnaround on your part. Way to go. 2 takes.
Excellent.
That's what's up.
Really good.
Thank you.
All right, Frank, you're up.
I'm going to disappear because
Take it easy.
I need to run to
Hi,
Arkansas.
Goldie.
Good to see you. Missed you.
See you next week, Goldie.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet, deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more, but you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think of that read?
Oh man, I pictured the guy standing in an alleyway with a shadow over his face. You know, you can't see, but you see these red glowing eyes, just to depict the style of the character. You know?
Exactly what I was thinking.
Now, Frank, the way you read that, where that comma should have been like gone, the way that Andrew read it, the way you were reading, it needed the comma. So, like we were saying, it's kind of a choice. I thought it fit well there. So.
Yeah, I like that emphasis on bloodshed. It was almost like it sounded like he knew something about Renjiro's background that would make it like he, had killed someone he cared about or something that really that was the knife, twisting the knife kind of to get him to the side.
I thought overall the second that time is now ending. I thought that was the strongest paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I kind of want to hear something lead into that, because that one was really strong, and then the ending was in his face. So I kind of want something. I don't know what, but something for the top.
Like a little quieter leading into it.
Something.
Second
paragraph. Maybe a level difference or a thought difference or something. But I thought that when you got to that time is now ending, from that forward, it was like, okay, that whole thing's really strong from there. I just
okay.
The lead
thank
in.
you, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got very believable character throughout the whole thing. So as far as I'm concerned, great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely.
All right. In the interest of time, let's move on. Who's next? Or do you want me to read it again? It's up to you guys.
Why don't you give us one more read? Try to strengthen up that first part a little bit.
Okay. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet, deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more, but you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall. I got a mental thing going with Hideaki. I can do that now because I'm not doing it.
Well, Joe, do you think that strengthened up the first paragraph a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that could, because it had more of a undercurrent to it.
Yeah.
There are more levels in the
more
first
like a
paragraph.
dream sequence to me, but it was still amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Well, following up that performance is Leonard.
Well done, Frank.
Thank you.
Wait,
Actually, we had Joe before me.
Can I go?
No, we're skipping you. I'm just kidding. Yeah, go for it, Joe. I'm sorry. I must have misread it.
I didn't miss Joe. Okay.
No, that was my fault. I skipped Joe.
They have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Why do the Germans have to be the bad guys?
That's what I was going to say. Is
I got that whole. We have this of making you talk.
Because Joe and Frank and I all grew up watching
Hogan's Heroes.
They were always the bad guy, right, Joe?
Hogan.
Like it.
Well, anyway, let's focus in on the performance there. What did everybody think? Did he communicate the story?
Oh, yeah.
And did he hit the emotional points?
Very well
Yes.
done. And there's nothing in that says that he's Oriental at all. So on you, Joe. I mean, there's nothing in that says it couldn't be the whatever trying to.
Anime is so cross-cultural. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a blend and a mashup of everything.
Well, I took the note about somebody saying this could totally be on the radio, and I'm like, wait, okay, I could see that, yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever watched. Oh, what was it? There was one of these animes back. It's from way back, and one of the characters on there, and the whole anime takes place in Japan, but the English dubbed character, she talked with a Southern accent.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Do you want more sake?
What are you kidding? They've got it in My Hero Academia. You got the little carrot girl doing the Southern accent in My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
There's Southern accent and
Rurouni Kenshin, that's what it was.
So then, was there any notes that you might have wanted to give to Joe? Any particular changes or adjustments to his read, or was he perfect as usual?
Usual.
It was great.
I thought it was great. It was a different take, but by the same token, it still worked. It still told the story.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was well done.
Oh, yep. Thank you.
And bringing back Germans as the bad guys.
And my face didn't even melt.
Raiders.
Alrighty then.
Mr. Jones.
Wowzer.
All right, cool. Leonard, go for it.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
All right. What did everybody think of that performance?
Seemed a little fast to me. Not. I mean, it just seemed a little fast to me. It didn't feel like a solid character at all.
Okay.
Sorry.
Your character just wasn't quite as strong, but I thought basically the read that you had was good. You need to slow it down and be a little more intimidating, and by slowing it down and emphasizing certain things and just kind of being undertone that we're going to draw and quarter you will come across. That needs to be a little slower, but overall I thought your read was really good. Just slow it down a bit and it will become more menacing, I think.
And maybe build a little bit more character, because it just sounded like you were reading, honestly.
Well, here's the thing, though. Were you going for a villain type character, Leonard?
Not really.
Okay. Well, then I think if you weren't going for a villain type character, that was actually a really solid read, at least in my opinion.
I got more like Golda's character, more like a politician or a council person. Talking to him and going, all this stuff's going away. You're going to be left behind, and we'll just wipe you all out, kind of from a political position of power.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a character that I've seen on the Xenoblade game.
Yeah, I mean, if you were not going for a menacing villain type character, then I do agree it was a tad bit quick. If you would have slowed it down a little bit more, you probably could have communicated more of the variance in the emotion a little bit better. But all in all, you communicated the story well, And you sort of had, just as Joe pointed out, the air of definitely somebody who was confident about what was going on and about the offer that they were giving. Like, it was, I feel, for a non-villain read, pretty solid.
Yeah, I see this as the representative of the Elder Council that doesn't like mucking around in the world's affairs, but this has gone on too far, and we're going to step in, and this is how it's going to be.
Well, I like that.
The only question is how much blood gets shed in the process.
That's a good approach. Read it again with that same approach. Just slow it down a bit more.
Yeah, going too fast is my perpetual problem around here. So keep pointing it out, guys.
It's mine too. So I that's the reason that's what I caught it.
Yeah, keep pointing it out because I want to get it fixed.
All right. Well, there you go. Slow it down just a bit more.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Much better.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
For sure.
That's all it needed was just a little slowing down. Perfect. That was awesome.
Good
So
job,
what
Leonard.
you were wanting to go, I thought that worked really well.
Yep.
Yeah, I can picture him standing in one of those official rooms. He's standing kind of arms behind his back, looking out the window and having that entire speech going right there as he's watching out across the horizon.
Yep.
All right, John, you're up.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Okay. What are some thoughts or impressions about that performance?
Same thing with Leonard. It was a little bit just a hair too fast.
It was a little on the flat side. I needed a little more. It didn't bump much.
I'm Tom Bullitt, and you need to sit.
Yeah, I
didn't
didn't
read. Holy cow! Oh, John, you pulled a Dan Reed.
You win! Ding, 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 ding.
Wasn't even trying.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that the character was believing what he was saying. So sorry.
Yeah. He felt like he was in himself instead of like the confidence. He felt like he was nervous. I guess is the best way to put it, right?
Tell me, John,
but and I think it's probably because you're nervous. Hey, John, are you nervous?
No.
Are you still approaching this from the phone call aspect?
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, do the phone call.
Okay.
Do the phone call. Go for it.
If you do want to read it a little bit flatter, I mean that's okay. It's not necessarily a bad choice. It's just, now if you want to try that, go ahead and give it a try as a recording or a phone call sort of thing. Like suddenly their cell phone rings and they see it's an unknown number and they answer it and you start talking.
So I'm leaving him a voicemail.
No. You're the observer from a distance.
Okay.
You're calling this guy. He doesn't know you have his number, so you're just calling him and you just start talking.
Mm-hmm. So give that a try.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Who is this?
Sorry, wrong number?
No, I could see a period of silence afterwards while the main character sort of mulls it over. I don't know. What did everybody think of that one, of that performance?
Fast.
Yeah, it was just fast. You had the good inflections and all that was great, but then you sped it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only do one thing.
I like the tone you
Now
took
we'll
though.
work on fast.
I like the tone you took for the phone call. It came across as a phone call.
Yeah,
It was a
that-
little
that-
fast.
Your
I believe
inflections were great.
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe
like
the character a lot more.
It's
I
like
guess I
you-
own this whole
All right,
phone
all right.
call
So we'll slow this
concept
down a little bit. Andrew, what did you want to say?
It's like you can see this like what's the word I'm looking for. You're like sarcastic about to free your beloved nation. I thought that was really cool. That comes across as like, yeah, it's the middle of the night and you're on this phone call. It's like really menacing as a phone call or a message or something. I like that.
Yeah, I feel like he was mocking him a little bit, in that first couple sentences there.
Yeah.
Like he's misguided or something,
Yeah,
He's telling him
but
he's misguided.
I like that tone, and then I felt like, and I think slowing down will help bring that out a little more, especially in the second paragraph. Or not
100%
the
agree.
second paragraph, the top of the second paragraph. But
Yeah, you
One
had the
other
right
thing I see-
inflections. It was all perfect. It would just add a little more impact if it was just brought down a bit.
All right, Michael, go ahead.
One thing that I see is there needs to be a little bit of differentiation between the next to the last sentence and the last sentence. Because in the next to the last sentence, you're making the offer to him. You're almost welcoming him. I mean, still being the heavy and all that. But in the last sentence, that's a threat.
Yeah,
So a little bit of
that's-
differentiation there.
Okay.
All right.
The
So
rest
try
of
it
it's
again.
great.
Give the last two sentences a little differentiation. Stick with the same tone, but slow it down just a bit.
It's three things, Michael. But I'll try.
You got it.
I believe in you, John. That's why I gave you 3 things to focus on.
All right. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
All right. What did everybody think of that one?
Better.
And good
I thought it was
definition
slowed
between the last
down. You
two.
slowed it down. You could tell it was slowed down.
Yeah, that helped. That last line though, put a pause in there when you you had a good pause after and we'll offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki. The ellipses is there in this one and it works there. So serve Hideaki and fall. Make that threat that if you're gonna serve him, see ya, sucker. But that was the only part. That was nitpicking. I thought it was better this time. Much better.
I'll leave it at Michael. You want to move on?
Yeah.
Why don't you just give us the last 2 sentences?
Okay. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
There you go.
That's more like it.
That was it.
All righty then. Next up is Tim.
Yep. Okay. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet, deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster once you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clan soon will be no more. But you, Renjiro, yes, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you yield. Join us, and we'll offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
All right. What did everybody think of that performance?
You sound like the slimiest, I don't know what you want to call it.
Slime ball.
He's one of those fantastic anime characters that's always got his tongue hanging out.
I would imagine that he was on a video monitor.
Going for a
greased back
while he was
hair,
delivering
yeah.
that message.
Like the serial adventures from Commando
Big Trouble in Little China. He
He
sounded like a
like a
character
mad
from Big
scientist.
Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, I was getting the villain from the first Incredibles movie, the slightly unhinged, emotionally unbalanced
syndrome.
I will say this though,
Jason
Tim,
Lee.
you were consistent from beginning to end on it though.
Okay.
Okay. So
Actually,
the character was
you know seriously what it reminded me of? A little bit, Joe did it, but I think you even nailed it more so. That smarmy little guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the very first one.
Before Joe did that, that's what I imagined when you were talking about.
I think you did it even more
on
so.
the video screen. I watched like he was on a video screen looking at Renjiro, and he was talking to him through the video screen.
Mm.
That's
So-
why I'm not like this.
Did everybody get the story from his performance? Did you feel like he actually communicated those various different points that we talked about?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, his character was consistent all the way through. It threw you off a little to start with, and it's like, what is it? Okay, and then you kind of caught up with it all. I thought it ended up working quite well, actually.
Okay. Well, what does everybody think? Would you like to hear a second round, or do you think that's good?
Next.
Okay,
Yeah,
next it is.
Thank you.
Very, very, very nice and a different choice. Thanks, Tim.
No problem.
Mhm.
Thank
like
you guys.
All right. Domingo.
Domingo here.
Sorry, I put your name down as Mingo.
No, that's okay. I wasn't going to say anything. We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
Wow.
Next.
It made me think of Samurai Jack.
Great job, Dom.
Holy.
Nice
I
twist
gotta
ending.
follow that. Are you
Nice.
serious?
I lip synced the whole thing.
Got a solid George Takei. Oh my.
Oh,
Getting a turtle from Kung Fu
Panda.
definitely golf clap on that one. Yay.
Yes.
Excellent job,
bravo.
Domingo.
Yeah, I totally bought that character.
Oh yeah.
Wowzer.
1,000,000%.
Thank you. A lot of interesting
Great.
character choices here, and so I thought, should I vary from my first one? And I thought, no, I'm going to refine my first one. But this being my first meeting with you, this is a great experience. If this is my only chance to say that, I'm enjoying this. So thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. But,
Thank you for coming by, Domingo.
yeah, really
Welcome
quick.
every Monday.
Yeah, you're welcome to come every single Monday. It's always going to be free. It's always open, and it's the same link that you received.
The same nutballs, even more.
Yeah, really quick though, I liked your dedication to that performance, to that character,
Yep.
because it didn't waver it was really, because of that, it was really believable that you were involved in this world, that you were actually part of it. And I think that's that the decision to not abandon the previous character but refine it is something that kind of has changed as we've gone through the list so far. There's been tweaks to who the character is along the way, but that decision to stick with it and to really put your head in the game, so to speak, when it comes to who this character is and how they would be and how they would deliver it, really sold the idea that you were going for. It, like was mentioned before, the character was very believable. It was very solid. Really, really good choice. Really good job.
Thank you. Thank you. I find that when we're doing characters, for me personally, it is the biggest challenge to remain consistent throughout the performance. And if you watch, I will watch this back, and there is one instance in my performance where I know I slipped a little from the character.
You're pulling a Dan.
So, all right. Let me introduce you. Since this is your first time here, we'll introduce you to a little something called the Dan rule.
Oh.
So Dan, every time he would read early on, whenever I would open it up for feedback, he would be the first one to pop in and critique himself. So I had to institute the Dan rule. And the Dan rule is, when you're behind the microphone as the performer, when you need to worry about the words that are in front of you, you focus solely on that. You leave the critique to everyone else. So the critique doesn't fall on your shoulders. You know, if you did mess it up, let somebody else point it out for you. You need to worry about just your performance. When you're behind the actual computer and you're doing your editing and everything like that, do it. Be the director, be the sound tech, whatever you want to do. But when you're behind the microphone and you're performing, you are performing.
Michael, we did that just like we rehearsed. Great.
Yes.
See you, Tim.
See you, Tim.
Take it easy, Tim. All right. Next
I was breaking that rule before it had a name.
I have to follow
it all the time. So
this is just not fair.
Yeah, it's Richard's turn. All right, Richard, go for it. Wow us.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers, yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
All right. What did everybody think of that performance?
Finally, a Swedish villain.
I was wondering if I catch that. Yeah.
Who did cook the turkey?
Only on Yakuza.
Yeah, I went, what? I went, that's not right.
I thought it was a touch fast.
Yeah, there were a couple moments where it like one sentence kind of ran into the other too quick, where maybe you could have more impact.
Yeah, especially I'd say mostly in the first third.
Okay.
When you start getting into the second paragraph, there's nothing wrong with speeding up just a touch from the first third, because you're getting more heated or whatever you want to call it. But I think the first third needs to be a little slower than how you read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually agreed. When you said to free your beloved nation from its usurpers, you went straight to yet, and then you paused. And it wasn't even a snap.
I may have needed air. What can I say?
Well, it's better to take a breath than to skip through it.
Okay. All right. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Nicer. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Pacing was
Better.
perfect.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good.
It's a good.
Yeah, he's bad, huh?
I think I liked it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
one of those you
definitely.
finish and I'm going,
Pretty dang all right.
Darn
It
right.
was definitely a more solid and consistent performance this time around. So
but it was so scary to follow the good guy. Gee.
well, now Michael's gonna have to follow you. Which is really
That's a
awkward
tough
for me
one
to
to
say,
follow.
but hey, that's fine.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from usurpers. Yet, deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Jiro, you'll be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives can be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hadaki and fall.
I love the cigarette ad lib you did there. I felt it was perfect.
Thank you.
What did everybody think about the actual performance itself?
I have
enjoyed it.
nothing to say but bravissimo.
Yeah, I really liked
Thank
it.
you, thank you. Felt
Again-
like Firelord from Avatar.
There you go.
We've
Well,
had
again,
some
it
really
seemed-
good reads tonight.
Yeah, it seemed very similar to Domingo. You sort of refined the character that you started with before, and you stuck with it, and that always creates a much better performance overall. So, at least I hope that's what you did, because that's what I heard.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
definitely.
My
And I
ears.
enjoyed blowing smoke in Renjiro's face.
My one
Smoking
nitpicky
in your
thing is
studio.
yeah, my one nitpicky thing is try to keep yourself off the mic when you blow. You want to sound like not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Should have gone on.
I love the physicality of it. The stroking of the beard.
Yeah.
And
I got the-
I love that.
What's the master's name from Kill Bill? The pie something. That long beard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations. I don't think we need to hear you a second time. Dan, it's up to you to follow that up.
You can do it, Dan. Get in there.
You got this, man.
I'm just gonna go crazy. Michael's laughing. We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, yeah, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared, just by the knowledge that you wield. Join us, and we can offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and we'll shoot you down.
Dan, a representative of the Ford Truck Club,
Yeah, no, I ain't doing that again.
Oh man.
Okay,
That-
good
that-
pattern break. Good pattern break. Let's get into
Dan
a read.
offering to have him join the good old boy club.
All right.
Dan,
Oh, the
Dan,
good old boy clan. That's it.
I only came here today to hear Dan do an Asian accent. That is the only
An Asian accent?
And we're still waiting. That's all.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good. To free yourself, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster. One you helped create. The time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall. That wasn't Asian.
good, but
It wasn't, but you stuck with it.
That's how you build. That's how you build a new accent. You have to start.
Yes. Yeah.
Out of it, right? You're not, go.
Well, seriously though, focusing in on the performance though, what did everybody think of that? Like, did he communicate a character and a story well?
I like the Southern guy because I could picture him being drawn as the Southern guy. You know, you've got a great face, so I could see the Southern guy with your face and big eyes, and you know, I liked that guy.
One of those really offbeat characters with the big cowboy hat and, you know,
Yeah.
fish out of water looking character. But yet, like I said, anime is vast. And there's a wide range of characters in one show.
Dan, I thought you did really well because you were consistent. It didn't vary a whole lot. You kind of were in there going about it. I thought you did really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Working with that is how you start building up an accent and a character. So, all in all, you did portray the story well. Work on that accent. You'll probably have a different character you could use too.
It's a fake accent anyway. I just made it up last week.
That's fine. All right, Stacy, go for it.
Too many things to do here at once. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet, deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
All right. What did everybody think of that performance?
I just
Crap, I'm not crossing her.
I just pictured her character, the type of character that it looks like. And believe it or not, which again, anime vast, but I pictured this blonde type character, you know, and she's not standing across the room. She was doing that intimate read, so she's just practically whispering in his ear, you know.
So yeah, that's what I was going for. Sure.
Sure.
It was
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
done.
that was the point.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You got
I'll
it.
take it. I'll take yeah, sure. That's what I did.
I thought
Yeah.
the pacing stood out the most because you're not afraid to take your time.
Yeah.
Throw in a little laugh, take a pause between sentences. That's the kind of thing we get it hammered into us. This has to fit within 30 seconds. And this stuff is completely different. It's like audiobooks. If you rush through it, you're missing it.
Yeah.
So that savoring each line was great.
The other thing I could picture was she's holding a knife to his back. So while she's offering him safe haven, at the same time she's offering him death if he doesn't.
It was a very menacing threat that was not overt and not yelling, but boy, did you get the point.
It worked well.
I really love the join us line, the way you did that one.
Yeah. That's the thing with bad guys, though, is they don't always have gravel. I have noted, I've taken note, and you know, I've seen so much animation, especially not so much the professional done animation, but I've seen some animation where they will automatically hand that bad guy gravel, and that is not always the way it is.
No. You got the deadpan bad guy. You've got the anime.
Yeah, you got that smooth, you know, and it's like there's just enough venom in it to know there's something evil going on. You know.
Yeah, it's fun.
No, that was a fantastic read and really, really well done sticking with that character.
It was excellent. I have nothing to pick about.
Definitely felt your presence in that room, you know, the whole spider lady thing.
Yeah,
great.
Yes, sir.
So we are getting down to the end. Is everybody cool with staying over time a little bit? I mean, you're free to drop out whenever you want to, but it looks like we are going to be running over time.
Good running over time.
Yeah, I've got to drop, but
all right.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Take it easy, Andrew.
Yeah, we started like almost 25 minutes late. So
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
All right. So next up is me. We have been watching you, Renjiro. Now, you always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki. In full.
British bad guy.
They're still across the pond, so yeah, close enough.
Just the other pond.
Now I'm thinking back to, like, what was it, the Tom Cruise Last Samurai movie, where the British and
yeah, you told the story. I didn't find him quite as menacing. I don't know why, but the story I could.
Well, I wasn't going for a villain type character.
Yeah, you were just doing matter of factly. Hey, these are the facts. This is what's going to happen, and your choice is, or.
Yeah, I was going more for like a third party sort of style character, like somebody who's not on one side or the other, but on their own side.
Yeah.
I actually felt like you were one of the usurpers that you were talking about. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I felt like taking it just a tad slower might have helped.
Tad slower? Anybody else?
That's what it was. Was that just a bit rushed was all. I think, slowing it down. I think you're right, Leonard. Slowing it down would make it just enough to where you're really emphasizing what's going to happen if you don't join us.
Okay, but again, like I said, I'm not going for a villain type character.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it a go though.
I feel like this character, his time is valuable, and so this is the pace he chooses to deliver this message because he's got to be somewhere. So he, maybe it is.
I got other people to kill.
But delivering this message is really important, though.
Okay, I'll try to make it more important. Let's see if maybe that will.
Might work.
And if you got to be somewhere, you got to be somewhere.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I'm gonna see if I can actually add more weight to this. I've got an idea of what to do with it. Let me give it another try if that's all right. We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki, and fall.
Fantastic.
yeah, I like that a lot.
You actually felt like you were the good guy in that one.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to go for a menacing character. The character I'm trying to embody is not a villain.
No, like for example, like Renjiro is you're extending to him a token of like an olive branch. It's what it felt like, the whole thing.
Yeah, that was what I was going for. That was the ultimate goal. Like trying to actually direct this character in the right direction.
I'm trying to help you. Look, I'm a good cop. The bad cop may be later, and it may not be so pleasant.
Yeah. So it told the story, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm happy. Let's move on.
You got it.
Awesome.
Next up after me is Donna.
We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nations from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Ooh. I think Michael's trying to say something, but he muted himself.
Oh.
You muted and then you started to speak.
Richard. Oh, wait. Michael.
Okay. What did everybody think of that read?
Yeah,
She was the friend. She sounded like the friend.
She literally sounded like the friend, Renjiro's friend, trying to convince him that he means well, but he's fighting for the wrong side, and he needs to stop doing what he's doing, or he's going to end up dying.
Almost like they used to be on the same side, and now I've gone over here. Hey, you need to come with me.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad read. That's what I was trying to figure out. Where does this go? And I think that's it. That's kind of what
I literally pictured the tiny little anime girl in the kimono, and while she's small, she's yet powerful, and but really wants her friend to stop serving the wrong side.
So Donna, what was your goal with that character? What side were you approaching from? Were you trying to be a friend? Were you trying to be a villain? What was your idea?
My thinking was more of a friend, of someone that's seeing what Renjiro is. Hey, you were wrong. You try to convince yourself it's for the greater good, but you're wrong. Look what you did. Look what you created. And now here's a chance for you to get safe haven. But if you serve the wrong person, it's over for you. That's what I was going for.
Well, you definitely hit that. You absolutely hit that. It was very convincing.
Loved how you brought it home at the end. That was really good.
I kind of want to hear her read it again.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting when she said fall. I was waiting for the scene to flip and the cherry blossoms to start moving through the sky.
Oh, I mean, I was looking for something because it felt real, and I was looking for anything to make her read it again.
Well, that was all in all. That was a very convincing character, and you kept your goal in mind. It felt like, because that definitely came through on your read.
That was very consistent the whole time as well.
Yes,
definitely.
So good job. Interest
Nice.
of time, though, we're gonna move on. Anthony, if you're still here with us, you're up. Awesome, bud. Let's hear
Okay. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
All right. What did everybody think of that performance?
Was lacking something, and I'm trying to give a good direction, and I don't have one at the moment.
Yeah, emotional engagement.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's mostly focus. What character were you? What kind of character were you going for?
Villain?
You're trying to go for villain?
Yeah.
Okay, because you sort of in the delivery, you sort of flip-flopped between villain and friend. Like there was a little bit of both of those in there. So I'm not sure. It was a little unclear as to exactly what you were trying to go for.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see.
Yeah, it wasn't consistent. That was probably
If you
why
want to do the mix, think of like Magneto. That was not there. It was complete flip. It wasn't like a steady friend villain like Magneto from the X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do that, go for it. But yeah, you lost it. It lost everything when you just. Whoops! I just dropped my phone.
Yeah, I think if you really want to go for that feel, you want to try to go for more of a pedantic sound at the very beginning, a condescending tone at the beginning of it. We've been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. You know, you're trying to basically like pull the veil from over his eyes about how he's actually one of you guys already. So why don't you try it again?
Okay. We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its
Usurpers.
Usurpers. To free your beloved nation from its usurper. Why can't I say that? To free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us. We will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Okay. I want you to go ahead and. Oh, can you hear me yet? I want you to go ahead and start it over. Take your headphones off and read it again. Relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And think usurp. P at the end of it. Usurp. Usurp. Usurper. Like usurp.
Usurper.
Usurper. Usurper. Like usurper. Like usurper. A
Okay.
usurper.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Much better. That was much more consistent.
That was consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better.
That was a lot more consistent.
Clearer, much clearer.
Your character gets lost a little bit, but and that's near the end when you get to imagine how many lives, you kind of a little bit lost the character, but it came across. You told the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The story was told much better this time than the other two.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed that was a little bit odd with how you started it off is in the first sentence, you emphasized have. We have been watching you. When the operative word in there would be watching. We've been watching you, Renjiro. So yeah, your emphasis was put on have, and it was a little bit of an odd way to start for every single time. But with this last read in particular, the rest of your character, the rest of the consistency of that character sort of overtook that. It was a lot easier to believe that you were approaching this as a sort of maniacal villain type character.
Mm-hmm.
So all in all, much better.
Okay, thank you.
One thing, Anthony, have you checked your audio settings to see if you're on your mic or if you're on the webcam mic? Because it sounds like you're talking from across the room almost. So it doesn't sound like you're talking into your mic. Just a thought. I could be wrong, but
you're correct, Richard.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah.
On the arrow up by the mute button on the bottom of your
yeah, that will tell you what your input
it tells
is,
you what your mic is.
It sounds like it's coming from your webcam
or your computer.
Wait, nuts.
Well, we'll let you work on it while Nathan goes.
Oh, wait.
Okay, I got it now.
There we go.
There, that's it.
There you go.
Still though, performance was good,
Okay.
but in the interest of time, we do have to move on. Nathan, go ahead.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed could be spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and fall.
Got an evil wacko Warner going on here.
That's what I was thinking, but slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, that was all I had. What you were doing and the emphasis was good. But I think the story would be told better with a few more pauses. That's all,
okay.
And that would just be slowing it down a bit. You were running through that.
Okay.
We have been watching you, Renjiro. You always try to convince yourself that you act for the greater good, to free your beloved nation from its usurpers. Yet deep in your soul, you know you serve a monster, one you helped create. That time is now ending. The Yakuza clans will soon be no more. But you, Renjiro, you could be invaluable to us. Imagine how many lives could be saved, how much bloodshed spared by the knowledge you wield. Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and foe.
I think that ultimatum was delivered a little too quickly at the end, personally.
Yeah, you were doing good right up to the.
Yeah.
Join us, and we will offer you safe haven. Serve Hideaki and foe.
There you go. We would slice that, just splice that in, and I think we'd have a pretty solid character read for you.
Fantastic.
Because all in all, that was really consistent of a character, at least.
Mm-hmm.
All
yeah,
right.
we got enough to work with. It'll be
Exactly. Well, we're 13 minutes over the hour. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. We will conclude the recorded section. We will be hanging out for a little bit afterwards. If you want to, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Nathan right now, though, to finish this up.
And yes, this has been a fantastic mic check. You guys are awesome. And hey, YouTube watchers, subscribe, tag the little bell so you can know what we're up to, because we've always got good things going on. And hey, we're starting to get in guest coaches. So be watching for that. It's going to be awesome. I mean, this is going to be a great year with the mic check. You watch that lower third, there'll be a Patreon link there, and follow that link and support us on Patreon, because with all this new stuff we're doing, we need your help. And I don't want to go into too much of a spiel, but hey, it keeps us rolling and keeps all the great things coming in. So we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Later. Join us every Monday for free script practice. You can also find the Mic Check on Facebook and Twitter. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more.